All right, Beaners, day 36. So yesterday we got the tubs mounted up. I got the wiring more or less laid out. But I wanted to show you guys, I'm using an original electric fan from like a 2003 to 2006. Now this one, it's beefy. So what I did, the stock shroud, I cut it down to about 1.5 inches right here. And then on the stock fan, it has some rubber mounts right here. You gotta cut those out so that this falls in where the old shroud is at. See both corners. Now that you have that, it'll sit inside the stock shroud so you don't have to get like a lower mount. Now on the top, oh, also, before we get to the top, this lip right here, it's got a little lip, it sticks out. I'll cut about half of it off. Right here, all the way across. And then we'll drop this back in. Boom. Now, the only other thing that interferes is these corners right here. So just cut that little corner out because it interferes with the brackets for the radiator. So once you get those, then you can butt it up, and we cut the top of the old shroud. See, you just need maybe about 1 inch or so. It's not pretty, but so what this does, this lip is gonna go in here. See, so once we flip it over, we'll stab it in there. Focus. Stab it in here. Pump that sucker in. Pull it back. And it's mounted. But I just wanted to show you guys that. Since I'm doing the wiring, I want to go ahead and run the wiring for the fans. That way I can set that up and button all this shit up. It looks like a rat's nest right now, and it's not gonna be pretty when it's done, but it'll look better than this. So let's get to it. All right, fellas, here's what we got. It's not my prettiest work, but it's also not my worst work. I got the fans set and wired up. I got ECM wired up. Everything's done. So I need to get a starter. Hector said he's got one, so I might swing by after work tomorrow and pick that up. I also need to get the water lines hooked up for the radiator, and then the one from here to here. The only thing I'm looking at is we're like super close to the intake, so it's gonna be tricky to get an elbow to fit here with the radiator hose, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'm thinking, I was originally planning to put the intake this way, but obviously we have no room over here. So I think I'm gonna swing it out this way to the right and maybe make a box to where we can draw fresh air from here, or at least like close it off and set the filter somewhere right here. But all the engine wiring is done. Everything's good. What I want to do now is hook up the power cables and test everything. I got this fan harness from BP Automotive as well, and it just plugs right in. It's pretty sweet. It saved me a ton of time on thinning out like the stock harness and then doing a standalone for the fans. it's pretty sweet. So, with that done, I also saved myself some time on tuning this thing. I ended up going with mail order tune, and you pretty much send them. I already have a HP tuner, so I sent him my base, the stock file from this truck, or from the ECM. Sent him the stock file, and I told him everything I did to it. So like the Camaro throttle body, the cam, headers, the stock converter, everything. You send him everything that you did to the engine, and he'll send you a base map. And then I think you get like 3 revisions. And this is what Hector used for his S10, and that thing fucking rips. So I ended up doing the same thing just to save me some time, and you know, I think it was $300. You still have to license the ECM, so I think that's $200 for Gen 3 and Gen 4. So on top of the $300, I still got to pay the $200 to license the ECM and the TCM. But you know what? It saved me some time on trying to tune this thing, because we're still trying to make it to Dino's Get Down. So if I can get it running and everything and get everything hooked up, by the time we're ready to go to Dino's Get Down, we'll be running and driving, and all the revisions will be done, and it'll be sweet. So I got that on. Let's modify the bracket for the transmission cooler, because the stock one mounted like right here somewhere, and it was tiny, and the one I got is humongous, so I'm gonna have to modify the bracket to mount it to that bracket. So let's do that, and then we can, once we mount that, then we can know where we're gonna run our lines for the transmission cooler. On the stock 4L80 and the 4L60s as well, the cooler lines are on the passenger side. The 6L80 and the 6L90 have them on the driver's side. So it's gonna be kind of tricky to run those due to the headers and all that, because I don't have hard lines. So I'm thinking I'll come out of the trans and run it as close as I can to the oil pan, and then come out under here, swing it back this way where the power steering lines run through, somewhere over here. Well, I don't have any room. We'll figure it out. But we can run them and then hook them up to the cooler. So, yeah. And also, this relay stock was for the, I think, yeah, it was for the transmission cooler. And the trigger wire, what I want to do is run it from here to a switch inside the cab. And that is this plug right here. This ground is tied into this ground. And the power wire, which is this one, is this one. So once I set up the transmission cooler, I might get an auxiliary cooler just to cool that, because one of the main issues with any transmission is cooling. And if I can help it, I'm gonna help it. So yeah, we got a lot done. We got all the wiring done. This is awesome. Also, if you're asking yourself, hey, this is really high, you're correct. We ended up having to notch the inner frame on the hood to clear it. Right there. We have to cut that little hump out, and it clears fine. So, just so you know, if you decide to reuse your stock fuse box and you set it this high, you will have to notch the hood. But we're getting there. Everything looks great. Everything looks amazing. I feel like we've done a lot of progress. I think now what I'll do is go ahead and extend the wiring for taillights and all that. So I gotta run this across this way. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do wiring for now, get all the wiring done, and once we get all the wiring done, then we know everything is good. We're getting there, boys. All right. So, I cut it up. I ended up cutting off this side and that side and recessed it, and it fits pretty good. I need to go pick up some more paint so I can paint that, but I popped it on there just to test fit it, and it fits pretty good. So we got quite a bit done today too. Y antes que se me olvide, un saludazo para el compa Eder con Unique en Monterrey. Saludos, vatos. That's all I got for today, fellas. Thanks for hanging out. Peace.